Hello, and welcome to another Monday night live stream. Tonight, we are going to be diving into Castles and Crusades. This is a game that was recommended by one of the longtime followers and watchers of the channel. They really enjoy the game, how it plays, and couldn't recommend it enough. So here we are. We thought we would take a stab at it, and I hope beyond hope that I do it justice, so that Agile, we appreciate you stock up and die all the time, and if this is hopefully this is a good representation of one of your favorite games on stream.
If
That
not,
being
you can
said,
always yell at Mike.
yeah, it's entirely my fault. Thanks, Brent. Thanks. I
You're
really
welcome.
I appreciate driving the bus over me, but you know what? Somebody had to do it.
Hey, there's been no driving over yet. No one has said you did a horrible job yet.
That's true. This is that whole Schrodinger adventure is
Yeah.
really good, and we'll see if when we start playing it, it stays that way for any length of time. So that's pretty much the intro. Trollord Games made this. We picked it up. You can pick up this as well as other supplements and everything like that at their website. It does seem as though they tend to they can be in like your local gaming store and stuff like that. Although in my area, I did not see as many Castles and Crusades books about, so it was a lot easier for me just to get it from them directly. So,
Did you get a hard copy or just the PDF?
I did, and it's a hardcover, which is my favorite.
Because I noticed they're big on PDFs. Like
they
seem to sell a lot in PDF. So
they do. They do a lot of PDFs. You can buy a PDF and the book and all that stuff, reasonably priced. I think that
get them while you can.
Yeah. And if anybody's interested, our next episode we're going to talk about like gaming in the era of tariffs. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we've seen so far. What are people talking about on the street? And of course, if you're looking to break into the hobby at this particular point when the prices could go absolutely wild or not, what do we suggest? So
yeah, and how to just look at what games and how to still support your favorite gaming company.
Yeah,
kind of on the cheap,
and it's good because I'm sure no matter who they are, they're going to appreciate anybody that continues to place orders, buy their product, spread the word, and of course keep the hobby alive, which that's what we're going to try to do by ourselves with Brent's wallet. Good luck, Brent.
Probably not, but we can always hope.
Probably not. Well, that's fair. That's fair. So let's see. All right. So I guess with that, are you guys ready to I guess get going here?
Yep.
Trying to get this started. All right. So, why don't you guys first of all describe your two characters? I know it's been a couple weeks. We had a little bit of a pause between when we first made these characters and now. So why don't you guys go ahead, describe your characters, a little bit about them, what they look like, what they do, etc., and then we'll get to the actual adventure.
My character is Lusgron. He is a dwarven rogue who was imprisoned for a series of robberies in a small town nearby the prison. Because he was pretty brash and unapologetic about it, they put him in the specific prison that we're in. He's kind of thin for a dwarf. Long dark hair, long beard. Pretty stock standard as far as that's concerned. He looks pretty disheveled since he's been in jail for a little while. And then his only other thing is he's, like I said, he's kind of more lithe for a dwarf, not or lithe, not quite as muscular, rotund. He has more of a lighter build. He's probably about 4 feet tall. Yeah.
Nice. And Jeff?
I am playing Solvang. I am a half-orc monk. Built a little bit bigger than a human, broader in shoulder, a little more height, but not as powerfully as an orc would be. I tend to keep to myself. I'm very awkward around others. I wear a cowl, so it looks like a robe with the big giant hood. Kind of hides my head. Sleeves come down to about here. The edges are all frayed. I have recently left a monastery where I was studying to become a monk, and the monks told me that they had taught me all that they could, and I needed to go out and get some real life experience. So I left and came to this town. I was asked to watch some horses while these guys went into a business. And when they came out, they jumped on the horses, didn't even say thanks, and rode away. About the time the police got there and the shopkeeper had come out. So I had gotten arrested for, assisting in the robbery. And now I find myself with a bunch of ne'er-do-wells in jail.
Where he
Mostly this
fits
dwarf that
right
just
in.
won't stop talking.
Nice. So we have our two party members, currently inmates at a fairly infamous location called Spinebreaker Prison, or at least that's what the everyone seems to call it. Who knows what its actual name is? But rejoice, you two have won the coveted lottery for a chance at your freedom. The catch: you must do the coffin run, a race through the ruins below the prison. Race is being used it loosely here because it's more you have to survive running through the prison. There's no real time limit or anything like that. Before you brave the challenge, you've been summoned by the warden, an overbearing watcher who rules this prison with an iron fist. His eyes are everywhere, and he allows the guards to be as harsh as necessary to keep order. Out of curiosity, what is the worst experience you've had with either the warden or his guards? Somebody has that.
The guards like to push me around because I'm bigger,
Mm-hmm.
and they know that if I, try to fight back, then they can beat me down because they have
Sure.
weapons. So they like to try to get me to react. And I've
Do you
I've
think it's
probably reacted a little bit, but after the first decent beating, I probably stopped, you know.
you
But they
think
like to
part of it's
taunt me.
because of your half orc nature?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I
I'm
s-
an outcast anyways.
I spend a lot of time in solitary confinement because I pickpocket the guards and stuff like that. So
Do they find it more of like a joke, like they get a little too close to, and you're like, gotcha again, or is
oh
it
no,
more
it's
like,
super irritating. It's like I contraband, I give it to other people, uh do it for favors and stuff like that. So
hmm,
yeah, no, it's not. It's because it's funny, but it's also because there's profit involved.
fair enough? Okay. Well, so you both cause problems for the prison in some ways, Jeff, by simply being a half orc and an easily punchable target, and Lesgrun because you literally just can't help yourself,
Yeah,
especially if there's profit to be made.
I'm pretty much,
Okay,
yeah, just a general nuisance. Yes.
so perfect. Well, then, fortunately, today you've both been retrieved from your cells by the warden's chief enforcer, the head of the Iron Watch himself. Um, you haven't really interacted with him very often. Obviously, Brent, you had one such interaction with him because at some point he thought stepping in himself and threatening you with things worse than you could ever imagine would get you to stop your illicit activities and profiteering in prison. But obviously,
It didn't.
it didn't.
Yeah, keeping me away from the other prisoners is pretty much solitary confinement is pretty much how they keep me from
Mhm.
causing trouble.
Exactly. And with both of you having like a prison sentence other than until you rot, meant they couldn't just kill you outright without breaking some of the kingdom's laws.
So they're gonna
So
use the
as he, of
coffin
course,
run to do it.
retrieves you, what's that?
So they're gonna use the coffin run to kill us.
Uh, well, maybe. Hard to
We
say.
have a chance to survive.
You do. His cold demeanor shows he's pretty much all business as he escorts you to the warden's office. You can't tell if he's happy or sad that you're going on this particular you've won this lottery. You can just tell that as he kind of takes you to the office, there's just that cold all business look as he kind of pokes and prods you forward with his other guards in tow. Within the warden's office, you see that the warden has just shelves lined with ancient ledgers and scrolls dedicated to pretty much the craft of confinement. This person loves what he does, and when you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. Seems to be the warden's lifestyle here. And while interesting, ultimately, anybody that enters the warden's office, their eyes focus on this enormous stone basin that sits filled with water that does not ripple. The surface is kind of glassy and unnatural. You both have heard rumors of this, and this is the warden's eye, a tool that the inmates have mentioned he uses to kind of keep tabs on everything that happens throughout the prison. Looking up from his unassuming desk, the warden beckons you over. Now it seems like both of you kind of maybe have a negative rapport with the head of the Iron Watch. What is your rapport with the warden? Does anybody have a positive or neutral rapport with him, or negative as well?
I mean, we're prisoners, so he
He didn't
probably
like it
isn't
when I.
fond
Sorry,
of
go ahead,
us.
Brent.
No, he probably isn't fond of us. He probably doesn't like me, but he might like the orc, I guess.
No, I tried to plead my innocence even after the trial. I asked for an audience with the warden. Got a beating for that too. So he did not appreciate that.
Did you actually get to meet with the warden, you think, or was it
Yeah, he gave me his fear of God speech.
he's not there to release you. He's there to keep you until you're sentenced to serve.
Yeah,
Kind of that kind of speech.
yeah,
That's fair.
Till we've repaid the
Okay.
debt that we have accrued.
yeah. And I can do easy time, or his favorite, hard time, and that's when they
Fair
let them
enough.
beat me.
He says that a lot, so I say it a lot too. Until we've paid the debt that we've accrued.
It's You know what? It's one of his favorite mottos. And being the warden of the prison, you really he gives off more the impression of like a minor lord and noble rather than some military type. His clothing is rather foppish by comparison to the people standing around in actual armor, weapons, sheathed, and everything like that. Um, and so he does look at you both, not really very, like you can't read his face, but there's a little bit of a smirk that you can see kind of creeping up on the side of his mouth. And he says, "You're quite fortunate, Many people would love to be here in your." And he kind of like looks at your bare feet, Jeff, and he says, "Shoes." It's time to discuss your run for freedom. So this is a very basic thing. If you make it out of the caverns below, then you are free. Simple as that. We will be sealing the entrance, so no tricky, "Oh, we got out because we came the way we exited the way we came" crap that some people have tried to do in the past. Um, he then pulls out this small box, and opening it up, you see on a kind of like a black velvet, you see two crystals that he hands to the chief enforcer, and they kind of bring them over to you. And as the enforcer does something behind you, you're not really sure, but you feel like kind of a tug against the back of your neck. He says, "This crystal will show us your progress through the ruins, as well as if you perish. And if you happen to make it outside and continue to," and he looks at you, Brent, "continue your previous lifestyle," and he looks at you, Jeff, and he says, "or just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or whatever you did, there is no return visits to Spinebreaker. Would like you to know that that's it. There are no second chances. And I must warn you that you will not be alone in there. I won't tell you what lies below, but I don't think they're looking for new neighbors." And with that, he pauses to see if you can tell that like lets the air hang a little bit. And if you guys have any questions, you can obviously insert them now.
I debate commenting on the fact that he said new neighbors because it's not like we're going to live down there, but then I don't mention it because I don't think that's going to help my case at all.
You're about to be not his problem.
So
Um,
before his little
eh,
speech, I was looking at his feet and I was kind of slouching over, but I kind of raise up to full height, which is above him. And I'm still not looking him in the eye because that he
mhm,
doesn't like that, but I am looking over his head now instead of at his feet.
mhm, mhm.
Do we get our stuff back?
Yes, like he basically, like for mechanical purposes, you now have your first level adventuring gear. Um, whatever that happened to be. This is very modern, very progressive prison. They keep your stuff until you're released, I guess. As opposed to most fantasy prisons, which would just release you with
Well, they're not
some
really
shoes.
releasing us. Let's be
Yeah,
clear. They're not really releasing us.
Yeah, release is a
They're
little
yeah,
placing us in a dangerous environment
correct.
for
They
which
let you.
they could do nude if they really wanted it to be a challenge, I guess. But that was why my character was asking, was to make sure that we get something with forth which to defend ourselves or work through
Mhm.
this.
Yep. Basically, you're given a pack that has all the necessary accoutrement for your first level adventure, I
The
guess.
stuff that we bought.
Exactly. So the chief enforcer takes you to a place that looks, kind of like a staging area. There's space here. There's a giant metal door that is very closed at this moment, and there's no, like, you can't hide anywhere. And they of course ask you to get ready um, when before they basically open the door and set you upon the ruins. So I think Jeff probably doesn't have a lot that you do, but I want to ask the question: since you're in this position, are you guys doing anything besides just getting dressed? One last one for the road, Brent.
No, I'm pretty dead set on. I mean, I do the guards have anything that I think would be useful on them?
That's a good question.
I mean,
How sticky are your fingers?
well, that's the thing though. Is like if I don't think keys are going to be helpful unless I wanted to try and get back inside, which probably wouldn't be good. And they don't have any. They're giving us our weapons and stuff, so
Hmm.
I don't. I think about it, but I don't see it. I can't think of a practical reason why to steal anything off the guards at this point.
Okay. Sometimes it's not about practicality; it's about the thrill of it.
I'm pretty excited about being able to go into this these ruins. So,
Okay.
um,
yeah. Let's go.
All right. So as soon as you have fully clothed and prepared yourself, they honestly don't rush you or anything. Um, they provide you with some
well, yeah,
hardtack and jerky
well,
and
yeah,
some stuff like that.
they assume this is a funerary march.
Yeah, this just your last meal is going to be rather sad, but yeah, they don't rush you. As soon as you say you're ready, the chief enforcer goes and he pulls this giant lever, which you can hear a series of cogs in the walls like kind of start to turn, and locks just kind of pulling in out of place. And this door, seems like it just kind of opens. It doesn't open very far. It opens probably the width of two men wide. And inside, you can tell that it's like, other than the light coming from the corridor that you're in right now, it's pitch black, 100%. But I did check. You guys both have some form of dark vision, either 60 for Jeff or 120 for Brent. And at that point, they just kind of usher you. If you don't go in immediately, they kind of like prod you along
Yeah, I
to
go
get.
in. I can see,
Yeah.
so I go in.
Yeah. Okay. And as soon as you both enter and you get past the kind of the threshold that separates the prison and the tunnel beyond the door kind of, you hear those same kind of mechanical rationing and sounds and everything like that. And the door just comes to you know, uh, a, a fairly loud slam behind you. Um, Kind of almost sounds like, the hinges as they close like groaned, like kind of almost like a beast trapping its prey. And when you look back at the door, you see that there's no latches to pry, no levers to pull. It is 100% sealed. Going the opposite direction, the corridor ahead twists kind of like an old riverbed. Its walls are rough hewn and seemingly only designed to take you from the door to the ruins. Um, as you press onward, the passageway opens into a corridor that will stretch in both directions. So, how are you guys approaching this so far?
I'm walking behind Lusgren, assuming that he's got, and he can see a little further than I can. So
Yeah. So which way do I know is out? Because dwarves do that.
Mhm. So there's a couple things that you know here. You can kind of sense. So, and just so everybody is aware, why don't you read the ability, or do you have the ability handy to
Yeah.
read? So
I
why don't
have
you tell everybody the ability that you're trying to utilize here?
Yeah, I've determined depth and direction. The world beneath the mountains and in the deep of the earth is the natural home of the dwarf. Dwarves can sense their approximate depth underground as naturally as a human can sense which way is up. The dwarf can determine direction underground just as easily.
Mhm. Yeah. So in this particular case, there's two things that you can kind of work in your favor. Now, even though you're a rogue, you've lived in what seem to be a variety of places. This is a fairly typical looking dwarven outpost. Where you're at right now doesn't it appears to be um, the your senses tell you that you're probably in a floor that doesn't have a direct exit to the outside. That will either be up or down, based on where it has the thing. But you can tell from the current location that you're fairly securely located in the mountain. There aren't any like arrow holes or anything like that to worry about to climb out of. So is Brent taking the lead though?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
essentially, like the ability gives me, I mean, if there's a path that leads up or out, like I can determine that. That's what
Yeah,
the
there's
ability
not, there's
does pretty much.
there's not a path that leads up from here though, but there is a path that leads out and down.
Okay.
well, he should be able to sense that too, right?
Yeah,
Well,
because I
where
mean
is the
the way
okay, so wait a minute. So where is the prison? Did we have to go down the prison to get where we are?
yeah, so if you imagine the castle that's a prison is on top of a mountain. They took you down into a tunnel that led you into the mountain itself. Now you're in a dwarven outpost that is
Right.
subterranean
Okay.
within the mountain.
So up so right. What you're saying is because it's on top of the mountain, we have to go down.
Mhm.
I think that's I think that's being fairly semantic with what it's saying. It's saying I can find ways through tunnels. So I know which way is out. So I know
Yeah.
we have to go down.
Mhm.
So so yeah, I just take the way that the way that I think will be out. I know
Okay.
we have to go deeper in this case, and I can basically sense how deep we are underground. So I also know how far. I mean, I probably know how far we came up the mountain when they brought me in, so I can probably give some approximation of how far down we have to go.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah. And right now the tricky part is that of course because it's a structure underground, you have to kind of know the structure more than the actual things. But there are indications because it is a dwarven ruin that you can use to find your way around. One could say like because when you actually look around and you kind of are examining the ruins and everything like that, the craftsmanship is unmistakably dwarven. Each of the stones is cut fairly precisely, kind of unyielding symmetry known throughout the dwarven craftsmanship. Their surfaces
Stonecraft.
are what's that?
I have Stonecraft too, which
Mhm.
basically means I get to know that stuff too.
Their surfaces are worn, but still standing tall, or not standing tall, but still standing without really any significant wear and tear. You do see ancient ruins etched into the walls, and you of course see like kind of like lining, kind of like a crown molding would be. You see solemn dwarven faces that have been sculpted as kind of reliefs. They're kind of like their faces are showing stoic vigilance. The thing that kind of throws you off a little bit, though, is that as you look down the tunnels and you're trying to get your bearings and everything like that, you can see that like blades have struck. There's been battles that have happened in these corridors, and more so than just like one or two people fighting. It's been like actual skirmishes and stuff like that. You can see barricades have been erected in certain parts of the halls. There's splintered wood. Some stone has fallen in areas. And you can still see like the remains, skeletal remains of dwarves and what are probably goblins that have long perished from some sort of conflict that they were having. Additionally, you do see that not all the dead are that old. There are some that are a little fresher, still skeletal in many ways, but nothing like somebody just murdered, blood still coming out of there. But they are humans and other shapes and stuff like that. And you probably suspect that they are um, other coffin runners that didn't get very far at all. So Brent, you're looking kind of you kind of have two directions you go. You can go down the corridor to the left or the right. Um, the ruins on the ruins that are kind of like kind of giving you directions as to where things are. You do see that there's indications towards like what would be a marshal's office, like kind of the head officer of the outpost would be to the left, and then you see to the right there would be like the barracks and armory and stuff.
But I don't. Which one's down? Like, do I get this? Is
No,
like, is
neither.
there
It's
any
kind of like a
any
flat.
indication on this level?
Neither way points down itself. It's a
Okay,
flat
then we'll
all the
head
way
towards
through.
the warden's office. I suggest we head towards the warden's office because hopefully maybe there's a map or something there.
Okay.
All right, lead on.
Let's see here. I'm gonna roll a d20. Let's see. Dice roller. We were in the roll wise. Dice roller. Jeff,
Yes.
as you walk by the skeletal remains, one of the hands of the dwarves, it looks like it's just the upper torso, reaches for your foot and grabs it. It's considerably hard, like a good grip. You are grappled with a dwarven torso. What would you like to do?
Smash it with my mace.
All right. You have a mace, or you actually use weapons, or do you just? Because I see you have a light mace, hand axe, and hand to hand.
Yep.
Okay. Roll for me an attack. Roll one. Roll. No, just kidding.
I don't actually think I get. Does everything I do get my con modifier because it's my primary stat?
So when you attack in this game,
Or is
I'm
that
just
only
gonna
going to
pull it
be
up.
like the monk stuff?
So combat. Do.
I get +1 because I'm level 1, right?
Yes. So surprise initiative. So when a character is allowed one attack each round, this includes melee attacks, either with arm, and then attacking. So you attack, roll a d20 and add their bonus hit plus any strength modifier. So con isn't the modifier that you use in this particular case.
Then I'm just get a +1. I got a 5.
Okay. So basically, as you swing down on it, you knock into the hand, and you basically knock the hand off. But you see that the like it's really just an arm, a torso, and a head, like just the rib cage and that. And it seems to you knock the hand away, and you'd see it try to claw its way towards you, like ridiculously slow.
Husker and the corpses are attacking.
More reason to get to the warden's office. So I guess we hurry. I suggest we hurry, unless somebody else grabs him or grabs me.
Mm-mm.
The idea is
It
to
just
move
seems
away.
like that particular one is now chasing you ever so slowly. So if you had a chance and you had $1 million, and but the only catch is that you had to have a snail chasing you the rest of your is
It probably won't
is
be the
that
rest of our lives. It'll probably be until we get out. So you can try to smash it again later if it shows up again.
Yeah, it startled me.
okay? Startles you just a
So
little bit.
I hustle after Lusker, and that shouldn't be.
Are any of the other? I mean, are any of the other cadavers moving or bones moving?
No, just that one.
Okay.
Was just seems like that one seemed to move.
Okay. Well, I keep an eye
Um,
out for. I have my hand axe in one of my hands, and I make sure that just kind of keep an eye out for other grabby skeletons. But we make to the
okay.
warden's office.
Yeah, you notice that like I mean it- as you get closer and closer to the warden's office, you notice that it's not um there isn't a it actually seems like there's less and less signs of any kind of combat or anything like that. And you actually get to what appears to be a fairly, I would say, for dwarves, as a sign of stations, the decorations and everything like that that appear outside the doorway leading into this office are fairly nice. Um, kind of indicates rank and history and kind of very dwarvish. Um, ostentatious, like this is Blim, the son of Dwim, the son of that kind
Right.
of
Is
stuff.
there like a nameplate, or has that
Uh,
all been destroyed?
this in this particular case, the nameplate it says that it's Balgur. Um, that is the warden's name,
Like the warden, as in this was part of the prison at one time.
or the marshal's name, or not. I said
Okay.
warden, but the kind of the chief, the head officer of this outpost.
Okay. So yeah, let's go in the office and then look around a little bit.
Okay. The room the room is surprisingly tall. It does seem as though it's got shelves, it's packed with books and everything like that. And you can see that everything is coated with a heavy layer of dust. At the center of the room, you see what looks to be kind of a massive stone table. Its surface covered in broken tiles and what almost would, for lack of a better way to put it, like military pieces. They're broken. They were likely used for strategizing, but they're kind of scattered across. And you can also see that there are kind of rusted quills and ink pots that have long dried. On one side of the room, you do see that there's a large door. Um, it's kind of a stone door that is. It's not. I wouldn't say. It's not very decorated, but it is very present. You see that it has kind of a series of dwarven runes that you recognize as being for wards of protection. You're not sure if the magic still exists after so many years. Against the far wall behind the table, you see kind of a narrow, what almost looks like a window. Like it's like basically it's a slit through the stone, and there's just kind of an inky blackness behind it. And then to the left, there's actually a second doorway that looks like, because it just has curtains that have been kind of torn down. It looks like it leads to a smaller living quarter for the officer that was living here.
Okay, I checked the table to see if there's been a map there, because if there's figures that might have been like battle plans for the area, so that's the first thing that I want to look at. And I suggest you, I say, Orc, you should check and make sure, see if you can find any maps or anything or any information on the where we are. See if we can find a way out.
I start looking.
Okay. So as you can, so basically what you can tell, Brent, from looking at the table, you can basically see that the table itself, you are correct. What you see is that kind of like the faded outline of maps. It looks like the parchment itself is it's in fairly bad shape considering just the age of it. So you can't really take it from this place, but you do see that what you can basically tell is that it looks like there are several layers of this outpost and everything like that. They all seem to be The circle seems to be around a central column. It doesn't really, you're not really sure what the column would be. That's not something you've seen in other dwarven outposts. But you can you see like inked X's that, like indicate that those have been collapsed, cave-ins, rooms that have been blocked off. You basically can see how that all works. But in general, what you can tell is that there seem to be three major layers that they have here. The top layer being this kind of like, where the soldiers and everything like that lived. The second layer being what would be like a trade hall, dormitories for visitors and everything like that, where they conducted business with the outside and everything like that. And then there was a third layer that seems like it was where they had underground farming, not algae, but like funguses, moss growing, and everything like that. Based on what you can see, it seems as though the two most likely exits that present themselves from the faded map are there's the main door. It looks as though there are some notes there. You can't really tell what the notes say, but it looks like they may have disabled the door from being opened or closed, kind of entombing themselves in here, at least until they figured it out. But then there's also in the third level, there's actually what appears to be a reservoir, a river, or something like that, and there may be some way that escapes to the surface.
Okay, how thick is? Can I tell how thick the door is based on like craftsmanship, like the main door?
Yeah.
Or
The
does it
main
look like
door.
they collapsed it? I'm guessing they collapsed it, or just disabled like the chains to pull it open?
Right. I mean, it's hard to tell. It doesn't seem like you wouldn't be able to tell without seeing it, obviously, especially with how long it's been. But it looks more like rather than collapsing the tunnel, they probably did something to disable the door itself. Like with a counterweight or something like that, as you
Okay.
said, take the chains.
Because the
All right.
goblins had
And
to have
Jeff.
gotten in here somehow. One last question before, and then you
Sure.
can do Jeff. Can I tell which way we need to go based on the map to get to the lower level?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see that basically there's as the corridor goes around, there's a way down that's not too far from the warden's office. I keep saying warden. I mean marshal. I mean officer. If I say warden again, I apologize.
No, it's fine. I
Um,
just want no. You clarified for me. I understand now. I just wanted to make
yeah.
sure that this wasn't part of the prison. So
Yep. And then but near that downstairs, like I said, it does look as though the two other rooms that seem to be open here are the barracks, and it looks like an armory.
what is
Um,
does the map say anything about what's behind the other door, the magic-y door, the protected door?
no, the officer's office isn't really elaborated on or anything.
Okay. Okay.
And
So while
Jeff,
I'm looking at that, it's Jeff's turn.
as he's doing all those kind of things, what are you doing?
Looking through drawers or anything, cupboards, anything that's in here, trying to find a map or anything useful.
Okay. It seems as though you kind of go through the office itself. Most of the stuff is, I mean, obviously it's ledgers and stuff like that. They're fairly old. Um, it seems to be I mean, I doubt you speak Dwarven.
Nope.
Is it all in? It's
Then
all in Dwarven. Okay.
it's all in, it's Dwarven runic script, which is pretty much Greek to you in terms
Yeah,
of
no,
what
I
you
can't read
understand.
any of it, but if I saw a map, I think I would be able to identify
Yeah.
that.
Other than the map you see on the main table that Brent seems to be poring over, you don't see any other maps or anything like that. The one thing you notice as you kind of go by the desk is that slit in the back of the room, um, the air that comes out of that is rigidly cold.
Why would this be blowing cold air, Lustgren? This is a dwarven place. Do you have any idea?
Do I have any ideas?
It's not a common feature, and
Does it smell of anything? I have a heightened sense of smell.
you do. It smells. You get the scent of, well, there's a few things you get. You get a scent of rot and decay. Some of that is like fleshy rot, not like plant rot, and you can tell the difference. But then you also get, weirdly enough, you get the faint scent of like cooked meats. Um, and what may be an honest attempt at some spices that you can't recognize. It's very faint by comparison to the other rotting smell.
So it kind of smells like outside the door, or is it fresher than the rot scents outside the door?
It smells fresher than that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will inform Leskrin that it smells like more death and oddly someone cooking something.
Yeah, probably bad. We should probably get going.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
I stare at the door with the runic stuff on, knowing that usually if there's wards on the door, it means that there's probably something good behind there. But my concern is getting out, so I think we should just hurry. Yeah.
You don't want the mithril.
You don't want to try to pick your
Right,
first
is it?
lock?
I don't want to get lightninged, is what I don't want to happen if it's magic, if there's magical wards on that, and I don't have anything about magical traps.
Well, you do have I mean, you don't.
Thanks.
That's true. Here's what I can tell you is that your character, from his own expertise and everything like that, knows that if these wards had magic in them, they would typically glow or shimmer, and these do not.
I also am bad at disabling traps. I'm good with locks, bad with traps. So, if I think the door is trapped, can I roll intelligence to see if I can tell if it's trapped?
Yeah, you can roll intelligence. Well, basically, what you'd roll is you'd roll your trap skill, right? And is your trap skill a primary?
Well, trap is intelligence, so no, but I get +2 for find traps in structures.
Okay.
So what would I roll? What do we need to roll?
So it's a D20. Because it's not a primary skill, the target level starts at 18. And then why don't you tell me what you're rolling?
So +2, it would be
+2 +1. Don't you still get one? For
+2 -1. Yeah.
And
What?
plus your stat for intelligence. What is your intelligence?
It's 8.
So he's a -1.
So it's
that's
-1.
plus
So
one,
it'd be
plus
+2. So I have to roll
yeah.
over 16, right?
Yeah.
I rolled a 5, which seems like we both have done. Oh no, I rolled a 6, but still.
Fair enough.
+2. So I rolled an 8.
Well, like, if anything, your inexpert poking and prodding hasn't set off any traps at this point. So it doesn't seem to be trapped as far as you can tell. But
yeah, I wasted enough time. We leave.
Okay.
I head in the direction that to the next level.
All right. So basically, as you kind of continue forward, one of the things you do notice is that as you get farther away from the warden's office, but closer to where the stairs would be, you do hear kind of how do I say it? You hear the grating of stone as you hear kind of like when you have like somebody steps on gravel, kind of sounds like that. It's very slow though, kind of like
like someone walking or not.
It could be. It sounds very similar to someone walking, but it sounds heavier and a little bit more loud than somebody normally would walk. Especially since you don't make the same sound when you walk through here.
As soon as I hear that, I try and walk as quietly as possible, and I suggest he does the same.
I try.
Are you actually trying to like move silently or hide in shadows? Or
I'll make another roll. I'll move silently. That is my primary stat. So that is what?
So that's let's say a 12 plus. So it starts off at 12 and then they add the number to it. So I'll say a 15 would be your target number. Unless you don't want me to tell you your target number.
So I guess I'm a little confused. So I'm worse at it?
No. So basically, there's two things that go into your there are two things that go into your challenge rating, for lack of a better word. It's A, you have a base number, and then B, you have a challenge number assigned by me as the keeper. So if it's a primary stat, your baseline starts at 12. And if it's not a primary stat, so in this case, because you're not humans, you have 4 non-primary stats, your baseline starts at 18.
Right.
So if
So
it's
my
very
baseline is
difficult,
12.
yeah, so your baseline is 12. I added 3 to it, so your target number is 15. Whereas
Okay.
on the other one, I didn't tell you what your target number was because it was
And we don't get
really
any
tough.
other, and we don't get any, like we don't get our agility bonus or anything like that.
You do. So you get your, and so as you see on the top of your sheet there, you get your attribute as a d20 plus your level plus your modifier. So it modifies it 2 ways, because if it's primary, it starts at 12. So then when you
Okay.
roll your dice, you get your +1 plus your.
So that puts it back at 12.
It could. I'm just saying that I only set the number. You roll the dice and add all your bonuses.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
you're
okay.
saying you're adding 3, Brent. You're adding
Yeah,
1 for the
I rolled a
level,
21.
2.
Hey,
Nice.
So Brent, you feel fairly confidently that you're slinking along, finding every which way to make as little noise as possible. And
There is
Jeff,
0 chance that I am as quiet as he is. I'm just saying.
Well, then you're the
I'm
one.
walking behind him.
Well, you're the one that'll attack, and that's kind of what I'm going for if need be.
You're still in front. I'm following behind him.
Okay,
Still
well, I
following
just
the slow
disappear
moving
so he
dwarf.
can't. I just walk far enough ahead he can't see me anymore. So now you're by yourself. No, yeah, no. I just tell him to be quite as quiet as possible.
Okay.
I'm trying. I'm not. I'm just saying I'm not as quiet as he is.
Would you like to attempt to be quiet?
Not if it's 18 or higher. No, not really.
You're just trusting. No. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll roll just to try to be quiet, but yeah, it's a d20 plus 1, and I got to hit 18 at a minimum. So you tell me what my odds are.
Pretty good.
I rolled an 18 exactly.
Okay. Well, you seem to be as quiet as you can be. Brent, you're impressed. His footfalls feel much quieter than you would have expected.
And now you can speak languages that you didn't know too. So yeah, so we're just moving quietly. As soon as we hear the noises, we move as quietly as possible towards where
Okay.
I know the way down to the next level is.
Sure. So basically, what you see as you kind of like come up on where you anticipate the stairway down to be, you actually can see kind of patrolling the top of the stairs, making kind of laborious steps back and forth. As you see what Brent, as a oh shit, what the hell is it called? It's called a stone guardian. Um, this would be a construct. It is not a. It's not something that you would want to encounter. I mean, it does look like it's seen quite the few fights, but it's still patrolling its charge after all these many years. Um, it is quite the dangerous construct from your own experience. It doesn't use any weapons other than its big meaty fists, but even those have been known to.
It's
disable
not meaty
them.
if it's stone.
Ham hock size? I don't know.
Large stone fists. Gotcha. So by patrol, you mean it's just walking back and forth in front of the door, or is it ranging out from the door?
In front of the not in front of the stairway down, yeah, the corridor that goes down. So it's kind of like got a small patrol radius that it seems to be walking between one side of the wall and the other side of the wall.
And from the map, there's no other way down, right?
Correct. As this was built like a fortress, it tends to limit its ingress, egress stuff.
But I mean, there was no chutes or anything for like detritus or things to use for the lower, the farming lower for like compost and stuff like that. There's nothing, no chutes or anything that I could see that would go down.
Not that you could make out on the map. I mean, there was that giant opening in the or that wall that opened into the giant coal over there, but that wasn't outside. That was inside the heart of the mountain.
Yeah, and it didn't seem to go down as far as I didn't look, but um yeah, sit against the wall for a minute and think about what we can do to get it, because I don't think we can get it to move away from the wall. You could probably run past it, but I don't think I can.
I pick up a rock and I show it to you, and I pantomime.
Yeah, we
throwing.
can try. We can try and distract it. You probably. I suggest you go ahead and throw the rock and see if it moves away, but I kind of doubt that it's going to. But I nod and tell you to do it.
You want me to roll something for throwing a rock, Mike?
No. So could you explain exactly what you're trying to achieve? Like, are you trying to hit it with a rock? Or are you trying to?
No,
No,
I'm
he's
trying
trying
to
to throw it
make
as far
noise as
as
far
far.
away from us as we can to get him to move away from the stairs.
Okay. You take the rock. I don't know. Do you kiss it? Like, just.
I mean, it's
Uh,
not like a pebble. I mean, I got bigger than human-sized hands, so I should be able to hold something like maybe baseball-sized or big. It should make some noise.
I mean, it's essentially like in the movies when you see people distract something. That's
yeah,
what we're trying to do.
I just want to make sure Jeff isn't doing something really weird because he has a ritual of imparting a spirit on the stone before he sends it over.
Nope.
So you huck the rock. It gets good distance. I mean, you weren't aiming for anything other than the other end of the hallway.
Yeah.
It lands with a clunk, kind of comes and settles, and you notice that it still patrols back and forth. Brent, what is your experience with these types of constructs? Have you, as either a dwarf or a thief?
I mean, is it a
Or,
dwarven thing?
well, this one, well, I mean, it's used by dwarves, but it's not exclusively used by dwarves. It's like a stone golem, but not as formidable.
I doubt I've seen one of these before, so I don't know.
Okay.
I think there might be something to control it. We can head back to the office and see if there's some book about it, but that's about the only thing I can think of. You have any other ideas? I'm speaking as quietly as possible. I mean, sound doesn't seem to piss it off, so.
Yeah, the only other thing would be to try to tackle it and knock it down and then run past it.
It is a large
I don't think I can't do that. That isn't my expertise. So
I didn't
if
say
you think you can, if you think you can do it, sure.
Or you get up behind it and trip it. You sneak up because you can't be seen. Get behind it and I'll hit it and knock it over you, just like in the Three Stooges.
This does not sound like a plan that's going to work.
They didn't really examine the thing where the cold air was coming out of.
No, we can try.
But Mike described it as a slit, so I didn't even ask anything else about it.
Well, it's the ditch. We already know that there's something dead was moving and grabbed you, and the smell of decay probably doesn't help make me confident that's a good way to go. But maybe we can find something about the Guardian. So I guess we head back to the warden's office, and I'll try and look through some of the books.
Okay.
So looking through, you find that most of the books in there don't actually tend to. They tend to be more administrative books. However, there is a journal inside the living spaces that kind of details what appeared like if you're flipping through it, getting to the last entry. The last entry is written. in kind of like desperate tones. It basically says that they've set themselves up to defend against the waves of the our bitter enemies. The way he writes it and the kind of the prose that he uses, it's obvious that he's talking about goblins and the goblinoid races, specifically goblins though.
Right, but where does he
Um,
where does he say? Does he say where they're coming from?
if you earlier in some of the earlier entries, it says that they came up through the bottom levels when they were digging for ores and everything like that. Seems as though they collapsed into an underground caves network, and that's where the goblins came from. It wasn't bad at first, but
But so, and it
became
doesn't say anything about the Guardian.
the Guardian. What it does say is that he basically the warden says, "We're setting the Guardians. I will spend my eternal vigil uh, in the vault protecting it. If you wish to seek me, um, speak this password, and the door will open."
Oh, well,
So
that's a lot easier than trying to pick the lock.
Mhm.
Probably.
I don't know. I guess we can go try and check that out because we can't get past the Guardian. So, yeah, I'll take his book and I'll try yelling the password at the door and see what happens. Quietly yelling.
Just for fun, what password would you like it to be?
I don't know, something in Dwarven.
Ale house.
Sure.
So you speak. You kind of go up to the
Brew
door and
keg.
brew keg. Lots of beer. Dark.
It's
ale.
probably his last name or something like that.
And you see that as you speak the words, you feel like kind of the door itself hum a little bit, very weakly. Obviously whatever magic is used to power this and is very much run out. But it does open. You can kind of see that the door gets open, but it halts about a quarter of the way open, and it does look like you'll have to pry the rest of the way.
So yeah, we both push. Does it open in or out? Like, can we push it in or do we have to pull it?
To the side, kind of like push it into the wall kind of thing.
Oh, it's Star Trek doors.
Mm.
Yeah, so I guess we each grab a
We
side.
didn't make the sound effects, or
Yeah.
the door obviously would have opened.
That was the secret. That was the secret word.
That was the secret word. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
So yeah, we'll both grab one side and try and pull it open.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you basically like pull the door open and everything like that. And as you enter or as you look into this vault-like room, it seems like the vault is fairly basic. All there happens to be is something on the pedestal. There's like a pedestal, and there's basically what looks to be probably the corpse of the marshal that interred himself here. Um, he's not fleshy at all. He's pretty much skeleton in his armor, and you can tell that he basically just like sat down at some point and then kind of slumped over. What I would say though is that looking kind of even from a distance, the one thing you can see that's kind of unique in there is you can see around his neck. There seems to be a gem that is probably what you would see as some sort of something control like.
But you said there's a pedestal in the middle of it, and it's just him, or is there something on the pedestal?
There's something on the pedestal, something that glitters with gold.
But I can't see what it is.
Oh, you can. It's a book. It's a book, and on the front of the book, in very detailed golden filigree, is what looks to be a dragon kind of circling each other. One dragon on the top, one dragon on the bottom. Artistically, though, you can see that there was paints and stuff like that used on the bottom dragon to make it kind of a black obsidian, whereas the top dragon is a golden dragon.
Well, I look at you and I say, well, that's probably important.
You should probably grab it.
I kind of want the necklace. I kind of just want to get out of here. I think the necklace might be something that controls the Guardian, maybe.
All right, you grab the necklace. I'll grab the book. I'll put the book in my backpack, Mike.
Okay. It feels heavy, and from what you can tell, it looks as though anywhere that you could put gold on this to make it ostentatious and gilded, that gold is there. But it's done masterfully. Only the best dwarven craftsmen could apply this much gold tastefully.
So yeah, I'll try and see if I can get the necklace off.
Okay.
Respectfully, I'm not just like knocking his head off and taking it off of his neck.
Well, it should unclasp, right?
I do for a
Go over.
second, and then I was like, nah, I have some respect for my dwarven ancestors, even though I'm a misanthrope. So yeah, I
Okay.
try and unclasp it from his neck.
All right. So as soon as you go, you both kind of go in your separate ways. Jeff, you take the book.
I'm sure having
and
a
you
half orc grab a dwarven artifact is going to go over really well.
very poorly, in fact. In his eternal vigilance, obviously, Commander, he was not going to let any kind of orc or near orc. So Balgur he's dead, but his spirit lives on in his vigil. As soon as Jeff takes the book, it's time to roll for initiative as he attempts to protect his charge one last time. So in this game, initiative's pretty easy. All you do is you roll a d10. Like it's kind of, and of course, I think your d10 is pretty much your straight up d10. The person with the highest roll takes their action first, and then the others descend from there. If you happen to tie, usually dexterity goes first, and then of course, if two of you have the same dex, then you'll have to.
I'm going first.
He
Wow.
is. He rolled a 10. I rolled a 9.
Okay. Well, yeah, you guys. I mean, obviously, he's a little rusty. Since he's been just sitting on the floor for an indeterminate amount of time.
Oh, so it's the skeleton that moves. It's not like a spirit.
No, it's a skeleton. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, in his mind's eye, he saw an orc grabbing for the book, and he's like, "Oh hell no!" So, yeah, you see the skeleton kind of start to shamble, and as Brent is going to inspect the necklace and kind of take it off. What are you doing?
My first thought was to hit him with the book, but it's too nice to do that with.
Okay.
So I will drop it back onto the pedestal, since I'm assuming I didn't get it into my backpack.
Correct. You were like yoink and
Okay.
putting it here, and then he was like,
That's fine. I'll gently set it, but I think I'm going to overbear him.
Ooh, overbear,
since he's a tiny ass little skeleton.
But he's a small skeleton. Thank you very much. Okay, so overbear. Let me just get that up here. So overbearing. This type of attack is used to knock down an opponent. It's used in wrestling and other type of hand-to-hand combat, as well as when an animal charges and knocks someone over. It may also follow a successful grapple attack. The attacker rolls a d20 and adds any strength modifier or other modifier that the castle keeper deems fit. The attacker cannot overbear a defender that is 2 dice categories larger than themselves. Some creatures cannot, by their nature, be overborne, like dragons, etc., etc.
Right. I rolled an 18.
Okay. That's pretty good. Okay. So in this case, you basically see him try to get up, and you just boom, push him down into the ground, knocking him prone. Because of the position you're in, let's go ahead and give you. Why don't you roll for me a D2? Because the prone is the reward for overbearing.
Okay. 2 on the D2.
Nice. Okay, so all right, so it takes 2 points of damage. Modified by your strength, which I don't think you had a.
No, I don't have a strength modifier.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so you knock him down, kind of sprawling there. Obviously, as a skeleton, isn't ever really that dexterous. He still doesn't help him right now. Brent, what do you?
So I was kind of reaching for the necklace when it started to move towards towards Jeff's character, and then he dropped the book and pushed it down. So I'm kind of leaning towards it, and I'm just going to try and smash it with my hand axe since it started to move. It's just 1d20. Just 1d20 is the for combat, right?
So it's 1d20 plus. Let me just make sure it should be your strength.
I don't have a strength modifier, so just my
That's
level.
fair.
Plus 1 for your level.
Plus 1 for your level.
Okay.
Castles and Crusades. Combat. 2 hit is 1d20.
I rolled
plus
terribly.
attribute,
I rolled a
plus
9.
level plus miscellaneous. But you do, because he is prone, you get a plus 5 to hit him.
Oh, well then I rolled a 14.
You rolled a 14?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that hits.
1d6. I only did 1 point of damage though.
Okay. So, unfortunately with him being kind of a skeleton and everything like that, you don't find a good, just how quickly everything happened. You don't really have a great, you didn't get a great hit in. It was just too quick and everything like that.
Well, he has a lot of armor on and he's dead.
What's that?
He has a lot of armor on and he's dead.
It's true. His turn. Let me just double check because I wasn't expecting to be knocked prone. I appreciate you doing that. Okay. Trip. Okay, so let's see if any opponents did. Okay, regaining one's feet is considered a half move, but if the prone individual also attempts to attack after getting up, they suffer a -2 to hit. If any opponent is standing over a prone individual, getting up requires a full action for the round, in addition to a successful dexterity saving throw.
I probably am standing over him, but
well, if you're not, I am. So
yeah, you're both kind of like office space in the printer at this point.
well, yeah, because I was kind of trying to lean over him and smash him as I was trying to grab the necklace. So
okay, so he's going to use his full round to stand up.
he's got to make a dex saving throw.
Huh?
Does he have to make a dex saving throw then?
He does. So monsters work a little bit differently.
Okay.
They basically have saving types. They either have physical, mental, both, or neither. So in his case, as a skeleton, physical saving throws are considered as primary. So I'm going to roll a 1d20, add his level plus his challenge level is 12.
oh, cool.
So like you both standing over him, it must literally be the fact that you are a half orc, Jeff, that enrages his spirit so much that he just kind of like pushes through both of you, like his arms flailing, like kind of clearing you both out of the way, and he stands defiant. Less anger is directed towards you, Brent. It's mostly just Jeff.
Cool.
All right.
So,
we got to fight.
Oh wait, I didn't actually see if I did roll initiative every turn.
Oh, whether it's once for everything or every time?
Yep, no, it's so every creature or character participating in the combat round rolls a d10 to determine their initiative.
So every round?
Yeah.
So we roll again.
Yep. Wow. That's a swing and a miss.
I got a 1.
I got a 7.
There are a lot of highs and lows so far. Okay, so Brent, you get to go first, and then Jeff, I'm going to determine that because he's a skeleton, skeletons are kind of lumbery. You're going to go first at
Okay.
1.
So we can do a small move, like I can do a small adjustment, right?
Yep, you can.
So when he stands up, since he's not really as paying much attention to me, I'll stand behind him. That way I can do the rear attack maneuver for +2.
Okay, let's see. Rogue. Back attack. Okay. So the only thing I would say about back attack is that in order to catch an opponent unaware, a rogue must make a successful move silently check to sneak up behind the foe.
That's not what I'm doing. I'm just doing the maneuver that says rear +2. If you look at
Oh,
the
I'm sorry. I
maneuver
was
list
like,
that you set, yeah,
yep.
yeah, because I
Yeah,
know I
no.
have to like set up hitting him from behind. With
Yep.
rogue stuff, I'm just
Yeah,
hitting
no.
him. I'm just doing the
My
+2
apologies.
to whack him in the back.
Oh, smart.
Perfect. My apologies.
So rear attack.
Okay.
I rolled a 10, so I didn't hit him.
+2, so there'd be a 12, unless the
Oh.
+3 includes your
Oh yeah,
+2.
it's +1 for level and then +2 for the rear attack.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Nope. You can't, like, he seems to have been able to put the pedestal in an awkward enough place that when you go to swing, you just have a hard time getting a good angle on him. Jeff.
Blast him with your monkness.
I'm gonna try to punch him.
And you
21.
do. And you do.
So basically you just go like, just punch this dwarf. You're like, oh yeah.
You punch the
Hey, look at
skeleton in the
that.
beard for
The
2 points of
average damage that I should get, a 2. Let's go.
Hey, nice.
My 1d4.
Hey, we managed to do 5 points of damage so far without getting hurt. So hey, we're doing pretty good, really, so far. Till
Okay.
right now.
Till right this second. His focus is on Jeff, so
Right.
Oh, he's not very good though.
no, well, he's still not used to fighting as a skeleton, I guess. His limbs don't work the same way they used to when he was rigidly
So we
training
gotta
7 hours a day.
I got a 10 this time.
I got a 7.
We got a 9. So Jeff, him, then
me.
I will try to punch again.
Nope.
I got a 10.
You got a 10. Does not.
Didn't think so. I swung. I misjudged because he's so short.
Okay. He is going to take his axe and bring it down to bear in a called shot on you, Jeff. He's going to try to knock you in the head. 1d20. Okay, what's your armor class? 11.
I have a robe.
Wow, he got lucky.
He did. He hates you that much. Okay. And he has a hand axe. 6.
What the hell kind of axe does he have?
Man, you are loved by the gods. So in the most perfect swing that he could have mustered as a skeleton, the arc just coming to just split your head in two must have been luck, must have been fate, but instead just gives you a nasty gash across the forehead as it apparently hit your thick orc skull and deflected it off. So 2 points of damage.
What kind of axe does he have?
An old, useless one, apparently.
No, seriously. Like, are monster weapons different damage than the weapons we can get?
No, that's a it. Well, he did a called shot on your head, so meaning it does a d6, and then because I hit,
Yeah,
it does
it's
two
double.
d6.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, My bad.
Yeah, no, it's just a regular weapon, but that's why it's so funny because I rolled snake eyes on a called shot to your face, which is
Yep.
hilarious to me.
I am still behind him, so I'm going to do the rear attack again. So I get +2, +1. There we
How
go.
many times can you guys roll 10?
I should just run away. Yeah, I missed him again. So initiative
Okay.
again.
He's gonna do since I mean he's frustrated that he can't seem to kill this orc that he would have been able to slay in moments when he was alive. He's gonna do an offensive focus.
Which is what?
He's
He
easier to
gets
hit, but he
he's-
gets a bonus.
yeah, I get to bonus 2 hit, but I'm also
Well,
okay.
I'm glad he said that because he's easier to hit now.
He is.
So I will do my rear attack again, since he's just paying attention to Jeff. What do I get? What? Oh, he just has.
So you get a plus 8 to hit.
Well, he just has a deficit to his AC, or do I actually get a +8 to hit?
Well, he gets a deficit to his AC, but I'm just saying roll a plus 8. Makes it easier for me.
Okay. I rolled a 22 that time.
Yeah, you got it. So you hit.
For 4 points of damage.
1 second here. Okay.
How many hit points do you have, Jeff? Just out of curiosity.
13.
Okay.
Well, 11 now.
Well, yeah, I have 6. So that 2 points of damage would have been much worse for me than it was for you.
Okay. So Jeff, your turn.
I'm gonna try to punch him again.
You hit.
19.
Yeah, that was definitely a hit.
Well, yeah, because it's 20 something, right? Because it's +8 for him too, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, 2 more damage.
Consistent,
Well,
right, left in the dwarf's face, bony face.
Basically.
That is true.
So in this particular case, why don't you go ahead and tell me how you as the orc have overcome this dwarf who felt that you were his arch nemesis.
I think he'd been in there so long, and the magic is, sort of fading that I'd like to pretend like I just sort of like knocked his head off, Rock'em Sock'em Robot style.
I think he gave it a left and knocked its jaw off, and then he hit it with the right hand and knocked its head off. You lost microphone.
Oh, sorry.
we
I'm just
did?
trying not to cough on everybody.
Mike did.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, you just pop its head back, and you can tell that the cracking sound that you hear, like the brittle bones just snap as his head just whips backwards, and he kind of just falls to the ground. Years of dust and everything like that just kind of sloughs off of him as he kind of creates a little puff of smoke. Yeah, now you can resume your illicit activities.
I look at Leskren and I go, maybe you should grab the book.
Okay, I grabbed the book and put it in my backpack now that he's done all the work. And then I grabbed the stone in the hopes that
Yeah,
it
I'm not even going to
controls
try to grab the stone. I'm not grabbing any of the dwarf shit.
Well, it's easy to grab now. It just slides off the stump that is his neck.
That's
true. You grab it. You can also see as you kind of like
We also
look
rifle
at
through his pockets.
as you rifle through his pockets and everything like that, you do find a smaller journal written in, kind of, it starts to get incoherent the longer you read it. But the important parts is that as you're going through, you find that, he talks, and he kind of talks poetically about how this is how he didn't think it would end. The duty of his clan was too important for it to have ended by greenskins. He hopes that if for whatever reason someone who is able to rescue them from this, catastrophe comes in, and they need, access to the stone guardians. That he still wears the key, and he basically only puts a deactivation and an activation keyword in there. So showing the key and using.
You mean I can't retake control of the golem and send it into the prison?
That would be amazing.
Well, you said it's just deactivation and activation. So yeah. So I put the stone on, and we'll. Does he say anything about what the book is?
He mostly alludes to it as the most important charge of his clan's life. He doesn't really go into details as to what it is.
I'm sure
you
we'll
can
get
tell that the note is written hoping that other members from branch families or something like that have come to their rescue and have found.
Man, I'm sure we'll get a good price for it at a bookstore.
Honestly, you personally know that you'll at least get 1 gold.
If there's gold, real gold on the front of this book, which I could tell, I know it's worth more than 1 gold.
That for anybody else, that's just a joke at how cheap I am as a DM.
It'll be as much as 1 goblin sword in Dragon's Bane.
You could trade this gilded book that weighs about 10 pounds in gold for 1 goblin sword, maybe. Yeah. Right,
those goblin swords that broke the economy in Dragon's Bane.
Is there anything else in the vault?
No, just that. Just the book on the pedestal. I mean, the vault was designed specifically for it. Let's see.
Yeah, so I put it in my backpack. I put his journal in my backpack. I put his other journal in my backpack. And then I wear the stone.
I sort of position his head back near his body and fold his arms over his chest and put his
please say his arms come apart.
Well,
I'll
place them the same way I did the head. Like
I'll be like,
ooh, they're over the stiff now. They don't tend to move the way you expect, so it does take some, finagling to get it.
I'm just trying to show some respect. The dude guarded. He took his job so seriously that obviously decades or centuries after his life ended, he was still doing it. He earned some respect. That's all I'm saying. For me.
Yeah, I let him do that, and I say, oh well. And then I kind of repeat the deactivation word a few times, and then I go to I guess we go see if we can get past the Guardian now.
Yeah, I guess you can just march down there.
Yeah.
Holding out your gem.
Hopefully it took care of whatever goblins. There's just goblin bodies
at
the top of the
it
stairs.
after we go past, right?
There's just goblin bodies scattered everywhere at the top of the stairs.
Actually, you stop it. I'll hide out of its sight. You stop it. I'll go past it, like starting down the stairs. Then you can just be able to get like 2 feet past it and just do the thing. And you're a dwarf with the command stone, and he's not going to care.
What I'm kind of hoping is that we can come back and sick the guardians on the prison. That's what I would like to do. I say this under my breath a few times as we're going towards the Guardian. Okay. Man, this is the wrong time to figure out that in his madness he forgot the deactivation word. That would really blow.
Oh gosh, was it periwinkle?
Trying to say the safe
banana.
Word trip, bro.
Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Oh god, it's not working.
Oh, it was quash.
I think I'm just making it angrier.
You're not saying stop. You're saying you want more.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll go back down and see if the command word shuts off the Guardian, or if I get stone punched in the face.
Okay. Well, it's all about your attitude, Brent. You know what they say: if you plan to fail, you fail to plan.
But it's not with a magical item. It's not with a magical keyword. It's basically whether it works or not. It's like a light switch.
Yeah. Hey, you got a long dead crazy dwarf.
I don't look at a light switch.
Stuff down.
I don't look at a light switch and go, man, I'm so sure this light's gonna come on when I flick this switch.
For all you know, it's his mother's maiden name. The street that he lived on as a child.
And so, all right. So basically,
it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like the password to the door.
That's my password. Change it immediately. All right. So basically what he, as you go back down the corridor, you come and you see, the guardian kind of walking back and forth in its solemn vigil of the top of the stairs. As you get closer, like, how do you approach it? Like, stone out, like,
Well, I'm wearing the necklace, so I assume I'm safe. So as soon as I get close enough and it sees me, then I said the key or the password.
okay. So basically, as you basically, it turns
I am
around.
actually confident this will work, unless it punches me in the face. Then I will not be confident anymore.
As you see it turns around, it looks at you, and as it gets closer, as soon as you say the word, there's no like powering down thing, but it does stop it.
It goes into a
Um,
rage and just punches you 36 times.
it's like, what'd you say? No, it stops. So basically, what you can see is that it seems to have walked back and forth along these stairs so much that there's wear in the stones at the top of the stairs from it going back and forth. There are additional barricades and stuff like that have that seem to have been broken down behind him and everything, indicating based on your map that the barracks and the armory are still that way. But you do see that there are now the stairs that go down.
We are going down.
Is there more you want to investigate?
No, I'm afraid we're gonna run into goblins. We need to we have the book. We should be able to. We could sell it for a nice, pretty penny and start new lives when we get out.
Right. I will start down the stairs. Can I get like out of sight, Mike? Or
I'm gonna leave it off
just
because
you're gonna leave it off.
I'm gonna leave it off because if there's if they ever run this game again, I'm gonna leave. I mean, we might as well let other people get out too. We'll just deactivate as many traps as we can if we can make it out.
Okay.
And even if we don't make it out, maybe the next set of prisoners, our next player characters, will get further than we do.
Yeah. And basically, as you as you get, as you kind of pass by it, you do see, like, so as soon as you get past the stone guardian, the whole feeling of this changes quite a bit. First of all, you can see that the stairways down, it's still that same meticulously stone cut. However, now you can see that there's like goblin style, they're crude glyphs just kind of carved into the stone. You also see what appear to probably have been other contestants of the coffin run, their bodies just kind of crushed underfoot and their skeletons in mangled positions towards this, kind of towards the top of the stairs. But you probably think maybe they tried to run past it, or maybe it just throws them down when it's done with their corpse. You're not really sure. But you can tell that the goblins have basically, that everything past a certain point is clean dwarven architecture, but then the goblins have kind of marked off where it's dangerous,
right? Where they could go as far as they could go.
Yeah, and so as you can see,
angering the guardian.
And I mean and they basically have taken to pretty much marking out the walls, taking whatever they can and chiseling in their own.
Are you saying the
glyphs?
Goblin graffiti is litters the hallway?
Yeah.
Man,
I can read that. What does it say?
It says all kinds of things like poop monster ahead. Like
I can't read goblins, so
yeah. I mean, it's just
I just spit on the floor because I still hate goblins. Can you read goblin?
Yeah,
they're juvenile.
Oh,
I get broken goblin as a racial.
Yep. And so it's like, I mean, the glyphs are all over the place. They're warning glyphs. They're like, "Ick was here." They're like, anybody that wants to do this is put their mark on it. But what they've also done to kind of highlight is they put some foul, oily kind of like residue, like jelly that's kind of filled in with the glyphs, so they're even easier to see. However, down here you can see that you can sense that the air is fairly like, you just kind of have that kind of overripe meat smell that kind of comes up from the stairway. And as you kind of get farther, you see that they've taken the liberty to like put additional like grotesque effigies, kind of figures twisted from bones and bound together with sinews and scraps and everything like that. Um,
Gross, but
and
okay.
they've also taken it upon themselves to decorate any alcoves that they could find with dwarven skulls, and they kind of have just stuffed their eye sockets with gravel and dirt. Um, you do see that like kind of as you get to the bottom, it seems like this is the bottom is where the goblins have kind of decided their territory. That's where their defense is against the stone guardian in case it ever decides to go down the stairs, which it hasn't in all these years. um and you kind of see that what looks to be probably an area that is maybe a camp or maybe a makeshift kind of like fort or outpost. You're not really sure. So, but it does look as though this area is frequented quite a bit by something.
A large something, a small something.
Maybe goblin patrols, maybe something else.
Okay.
How do you want to approach it?
Stealthily.
So where do we have to go from here to get to the next level down?
So at this level, based on what your map is, you know that there is the main doors that lead out of the outpost here. Obviously, you think that there's probably something that's disabled those doors, so you might have to do something to fix them. But then near over by the trade hall and the great halls, there's another corridor that goes down to the other kind of like the subterranean level where all the farming and stuff like that happens, where you feel like that's the most likely place for you to get out using the river, underground river.
So like what's between, like if I look down, like is there like walls or buildings or hallways, or is
Oh,
it
this
just
is
open?
this is so this area is not open or anything like that. It's actually big corridors, fairly large, carved out. I mean, I would say that the ceilings are about 20 feet tall, um, and they've carved a fairly spacious indoor fort, but not like too ostentatious. From what you looked at on, again, it's kind of like a corridor that circles the central, that central column
Right.
in the mountain. So it basically goes right and left again.
And then in the middle there's the trade area and stuff like that, right?
Well, so like if you look over here on so if it's like a square, you're like at this part of the square, that of the stuff that seems to still be available, um, you have off to the
Well, I
one
mean, what did
side
the
is the
map show? Like if we're here, like it
Mhm,
showed like the like trade area and stuff like that, right?
mhm.
So like where, like are they just open spots, then the tunnels lead to
Yeah,
it, or
they're corridors that lead to openings that they've created in the caverns. So in the trade area, for example, there are going to be additional rooms that are carved off to the side of the open area. With the Great Hall, it's again another area that's been carved out a little bit larger for feasts and everything like that
so
that they
which
do.
outer wall can we follow to get to the way down?
You can follow either. I mean, they both ultimately lead to that
Is it
area.
equal distance or is it one of them shorter?
Yeah, because basically what you can see if you look at it as kind of like a pyramid, the top level, the stairs go down here, the next stairs go down here, and then and then of course the mid level is actually where the door is, and it's on the western side, and that would be closest to either the Great Hall, um, or the
I'm
or the
trying to
trade
avoid
hall.
the Great Hall, so we're going the other way if we can go around. Like anything, any large opening where like you could be living, I would like to
Mhm.
skirt as much as possible so we can minimize encountering goblins.
Okay, yeah, sure. One second. Bum, bum, bum. So basically, yeah. So if you look at it, you have the big door, you have the Great Hall, the Trade Hall, and the only other thing that seemed to be open on this side were dormitories. That's probably where miners and stuff like that lived. So it's kind of you're not sure, but you would have to, in order to get to the stairs, you would have to go through the Great Hall, the door, and the the trade hall if you go to the left, for example, but on the right you would just have the dormitories to go through.
Yeah, we're gonna go right.
Okay.
Unless your nose tells us anything different about where they might be sleeping and eating.
Yeah, can I smell goblins as I sniff around?
Yeah, you can smell goblins there
Like all over,
everywhere.
or
Yeah, they pretty much. I
I
mean,
mean, does he smell cook fires coming down one tunnel stronger than the other?
yeah. The tunnel leading probably towards the feasting hall, the left, let's say, for instance. So left is to the feasting hall, door and trade hall. Right is to the dormitories. It would smell that stronger to the left.
Okay. So I think we should probably go right.
okay, I will follow you.
Okay. So as you get to the base of the stairs, you do see what? Cool. I'm by myself. One second. It seems as though we have technical difficulties. I'll be right back.